Hello. What are you laughing at?
The technical issues. Technical issues are becoming a serious health concern.
Well, listen.
Well, here.
The miracle of telephonics.
This is a miracle.
We're actually joined live by the one and only Fraser Wilson from what I can only assume is a very cold Tannadice.
It looks freezing.
How's it going, Fraser?
The technical issues here is that my computer's frozen. It's still working, but it's frozen just like me.
Are we sure you're talking about your computer?
I'm having, it's blown a hoolie. I'm having to hold the thing here with my right hand, or else it's going to end up in Dens Park. And obviously, I'm in Tannadice.
It wasn't a cracker, was it, Fraser?
Nah, pretty poor. Celtic missing their half a top team stars through a combination of things: illness, injury, Rodgers pressing a couple. But no, I mean, you've got to say chances created, and certainly in terms of bossing the ball, Celtic were well on top. But you know what? I think Dundee United goalie Jack Walton couldn't have wished for an easier afternoon. He did have a couple of good saves near the end, but he's probably expecting a barrage of shots to deal with, and it never came. I think we could tell for as early as 50, 60 minutes this was going to end 0-0.
I thought it looked like that right from the start. I just didn't think Celtic get anywhere near their form. I've been saying that I feel there's been a big drop off, or not a big, but a significant drop off since the start of November when they were just on fire. And I think if I'm Brendan Rodgers, what will concern me is that we've talked a great deal about it in this show, is that you build the squad, you get yourself into a position where you think, if I have to make changes, there won't be a noticeable drop-off in quality. But that shows today. Right. Alistair Johnson, Kuhn down the right-hand side, Carter Vickers at the back. These are guys that I'm not sure, even with all the options that he's got right now, I'm not sure he can replace them and make it seamless. Mm-hmm. And I think we saw that today.
Absolutely agree. I mean, it's already talking, isn't it, about Eddie's transfer meet up with Dermot Desmond last week over in Dublin, and they're well ahead of the game for the January market. I mean, those areas, that's exactly what it's looking to do, strengthen that squad, because you mentioned probably three of the strongest players there, Keith, and it was clearly evident today that they were badly missed. I mean, Young's getting a very rare run out, but did nothing.
Offered nothing. Absolutely.
To be fair,
nothing.
I mean, Stephen Welsh has been thrown in there for his first, only second start of the season, only second appearance of the season. And it's another decent clean sheet. I know they weren't overly tested, but you know, they thought they looked solid enough at the back. And it wasn't very much a makeshift. It is very much a makeshift. If I can get the words out. Backline. So defensively, okay, pass marks, but going forward, even Kyogo, I thought Kyogo had 2 or 3 right good sniffs at goal. I was just off it today, mishitting things, not connecting correctly, too easily. Marshalled by Kevin Holt and big Declan Gallagher.
That one at the end that Kyogo had, you'd have bet your bottom dollar he was going to bury it. But
the one where he kind of pulls out the shot, doesn't connect properly. It's a goal all day long when Kyogo's at the top of his game. So, yeah, you know what? It's interesting. I'm going to say something right now, officially.
I know what's coming.
There's a title race.
I knew it.
There is. It's now official. And do you know what? It probably would have been the case even if Celtic had won there today, because Rangers are a different proposition entirely to the Rangers that, you know, was presenting itself earlier in the season. That wasn't a team capable of challenging for a title. This is a different Rangers team. And Celtic, they're not where they were in November. And it means there's the possibility. Now, by the way, I might officially say the title race is off again on the 2nd of January if Celtic go to Ibrox and win. But as things stand just now, 9 points between the two. Rangers are a different proposition, as we said. If Celtic go to Ibrox and Rangers win that game, it's down to 6 and it's game on.
What do you think of that, Fraser? Is that fair enough?
Oh, I think I've lost you.
Yeah, what's your...
No, I will reserve judgment until full time in that game, Keith, unless Rangers beat Celtic. And by the way, on recent performances, that game being at Ibrox, there's every chance they could. But unless they win that game, there's no title race for me. 9 points is still a huge gap, and I don't see Celtic dropping that many points across the rest of the season. I don't think they'll dip. I mean, we agree they've come down a gear since probably that Red Bull Leipzig game, but I don't know if they'll drop any further. I can only see they're going to pick up again, especially when they get the players back. I mean, you'll get Carter Vickers and Trusty should both be okay for Boxing Day against Motherwell. The interesting one is Nicholas Kuhn. Brendan Rodgers was very uncommittal.
A knee injury.
Yeah, he's got a knee niggle. He called it a niggle, but he wouldn't say as much, but it certainly sounded like he won't feature in Boxing Day, which immediately makes you wonder, well, will he be fit for a week later to be thrown back in? So look, I don't doubt Rangers have without doubt improved their performances and are starting to look a real threat, especially at the top end of the park, but they need to beat Celtic on January 2nd, and if they do, then I'll agree with Keith, there is a thing. Oh.
We need to let him go in a matter of health and safety here.
Fraser, before you get taken away in a tornado, we'll let you go.
Right,
thank you very much for joining us on the Hotline Live. I hope you survive your trip home.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Cheers, Fraser.
Things you never thought you'd wish to see Fraser Wilson being blown off.
In a tornado. On that note, I think Fraser makes a good point when he says, I think the game in the January the 2nd is pivotal. If Rangers win that, then definitely.
That's what I'm saying now. I reserve the right to say the race is back off again if Celtic go across the city and take 3 points. But as things stand right at this moment in time, Rangers are on the up and Celtic are coming back down towards them a little bit. As I said, I genuinely, I'm serious when I say this is a different Rangers side. It's a different proposition entirely. The Rangers that we saw, just up until the last 3-4 weeks, wasn't a side that was capable of putting up a proper challenge. They were so laboured, predictable, rigid, easy to defend against. And all of a sudden, we keep saying it, I don't know if he's designed this or if he's stumbled across it. All of a sudden, in the last third, Rangers have got vibrancy and energy and options and variation, and they're completely different. Obviously, they only won 1-0 against Dundee yesterday. But it looks of things, it could have been 5, 6 or 7.
Hit the bar 4 times.
Yeah, and missed some big chances. But it's just they are a different team to play against now. And Celtic, saw that for themselves in the cup final at Hampden. And it's just going to be interesting. I just think it lights a fire under the next Old Firm game now. That's got some meaning. And going into, when Clement was kind of staggering in towards that, game against Spurs and then the cup final against Celtic, you're thinking Rangers don't stand a chance. This is a matter of how badly the humiliation
damage
gets.
Limitation.
Yeah. And yet they come away from both. His position has maybe been enhanced. Different Rangers, different proposition, and it gives a real edge to a match which I think previously you would look at it as, well, it doesn't really matter who wins that game because the title's done and dusted.
Even if
anyway.
Rangers won it, you'd say.
The title just doesn't feel as done and dusted as it did a few weeks ago now. And that means that constitutes, and I'm sticking to it, a race.
Obviously, the very notion of a title race has got people talking in the comment section. Stephen Milburn says, I'm sorry, the title of Celtics, they won't drop 6 points to the rest of the league. Sean McClammon, I don't have my glasses and it's ruining my life. I guess there's a need to talk up the title race, but Rangers scraped past Dundee at home. A very weakened Celtic team drawing away to Dundee United, who are fourth, is no disaster at all.
No, it's not. It's absolutely not. But I'm talking about, we've now seen over a period of weeks now patterns. And that's what the pattern is. That doesn't come as a surprise for Celtic to drop a couple of points today. Whereas if that had happened, at the time when they were annihilating Aberdeen in the League Cup semi, beating Leipzig, didn't just beat Leipzig, they thrashed them. Tremendous performance. Different level Celtic performances at that point. You'd be astonished if you threw in a 0-0 away to Dundee United at that point in the season. But that didn't come as a great surprise today. I think it's been coming. And it's going to be interesting, to be fair, Michael Gannon did say it after the League Cup final. It was like the behind the scenes at the Somme in the mixed zone with people.
The walking wounded.
Yeah, moon boots and crutches, and it took a toll. That took a heavy toll. Celtic's season appears to be catching up with them a little bit.
Yeah. Which is understandable. I mean,
it's completely understandable and it's unavoidable. Mm-hmm. But it's just interesting to see. This is now a test that Brendan Rodgers probably didn't think he was going to have to encounter at this stage in the season. It's going to be about, right, okay, guys, we need to get back to basics here. We need to get back towards the sort of form we were showing. Can you flick the switch? Can you rediscover it? Because that's what's going to be required. And we've seen Celtic do it, and they've been over the course so many times that you actually fully expect them now to come back with all guns blazing and ramp it up.
Yeah.
And then go to Ibrox and rediscover that sort of form and put the thing to bed on January the 2nd. But there's just that little bit of intrigue now that wasn't there before.
No, I agree with that. In the comment section, Timmy pointing out that Rangers have 2 away games before the second. Celtic have 2 at home. He insists it will be 11 points again very soon. Rangers easy okay. It says need to win in Paisley and Fir Park. Firstly, if we can do that, then it sets it up. And last weekend's performance shows we can compete, and I'd fancy us at Ibrox.
Well, look, I've said in tomorrow's paper we've got the Monday jury, and I've said exactly that. Rangers need to, if Rangers want to make this a title race, if they want to get involved in it, they need to take 9 points from the next 3 games. It's as simple as that.
Aye,
if they can do that,
they need to.
They're in it.
Aye. Mo pointing out that CCV, Cameron Carter-Vickers, is vital to Celtic, and let me just throw this one at you as well. Dennis Mirren writes in saying, today proves Celtic squad isn't as good as it's made out. Falkirk then today, a few injuries and struggle with 5 out. An £11 million man only gets 5 minutes. Obviously a little bit harsh, I feel, but I'm bringing it up because do you think Brendan Rodgers will be concerned that the players that he brought in today, I think it was a very noticeable drop-off. I mean, Kuhn to Yang. That's
big.
Very big. Yeah. And then even... I like
James Forrest on the bench, did he?
No, he was injured as well. Right. He's out for a few weeks.
So, I mean, this is... I'm not saying it's not crisis point or anywhere near it for Celtic, but it is a concern.
No.
And it's going to be a concern. How many of these guys are going to get over their injuries or their illnesses in time for the next couple of games? This is a critical point in the period, a critical period in the season, and it would be advantageous if the manager had options, because I think what you saw today is too much of a drop.
Like even players like Ralston's never let Celtic down, but Johnson's
he's
a big upgrade.
I really like Tony Ralston because you can absolutely hang your hat on him, but he just can't do and offer the things that Alistair Johnson does going forward. Alistair Johnson and Kuhn they've got such a strong relationship and partnership down that side. They are top notch, and it's really hard to replace them. I think as well, Fraser was spot on there. Defensively, Celtic were fine. They've had to change 3 of the back 4. They were solid enough defensively, but there is a difference that Carter-Vickers makes. And Brendan Rodgers went to some length to point this out last season when Carter-Vickers was missing. It's that when a team is trying to get out, Celtic have got a team hemmed in. You launch a long ball up to the halfway line. Now, if Cameron Carter-Vickers is there, he snuffs that out. He gets right on top of it. He'll win the ball back. He'll retain it, and Celtic go again from the halfway line or no deeper than that. When he's not there, it's easier for the ball to get in behind and for teams to get out. Celtic suffocate you by camping in your half and coming at you repeatedly.
Yeah.
And it's easier for the team to function that way when Carter-Vickers is playing at centre half, because he anticipates, he's strong, he's quick, he gets there, he shuts it down, and next minute Celtic are off in attack again. And without him there, that's a big part in how Celtic play the game.
We've said previously in this show that Carter-Vickers, the great thing about him is that he stops opposition attacks before they become attacks.
Before it's even an attack.
He snuffs them out before it's even dangerous. Yeah. And I think he's absolutely essential if Celtic want to...
But in terms of how Celtic, and it's this relentless, always in the front foot and going again, and that it comes from... Carter-Vickers plays a huge role in that, because without him, what maybe ends with the opposition getting 30 yards into your half, Carter-Vickers is dealing with that in the halfway line, and it keeps the momentum, it keeps Celtic going forward. That's a big thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Plenty of comments coming in. I mean, I don't even know where to start, Keith, to be honest.
Do you want a shot of my glasses?
I might need them, to be honest. John here saying, can't win them all. Although we've been playing below par for a few games now already. We will pick up the ante again soon though. Fair play to United for taking advantage. Still a comfortable 9-point lead. And Paul...
The 9 points just not as comfortable as 11.
Aye, of course. I'd literally. I think the next Old Firm game will be interesting. Rangers have a newfound confidence. Celtic should be concerned. A lot of Celtic fans are strong in arrogance that might just bite them later on.
Well, I think Celtic's fans are probably entitled to feel a little bit arrogant in the sense
It's
that...
probably well earned,
Yeah. There's a reason that Celtic keep on winning just about everything that's going. It's because, and let's be no doubt about that, they are by far and away the best side in the country.
Yeah.
But, and the but is, as I keep saying, this is not the same Rangers that they were seeing off. This is a different Rangers, simply because in the attacking third, they are unpredictable and dangerous. And that they were the very opposite of that at the start of this season.
Mm-hmm. Aye,
So
I think that's a fair point. The comments are coming in. As I say, if you're watching at home, please continue to get involved in the conversation. We'll try and get through your comments. We've mentioned, obviously, the Rangers game yesterday. 1-0 win over Dundee.
Yeah.
As we say, hit the bar 4 times. Dundee didn't offer very much. Another game yesterday that burst my coupon was Hibs winning at Pittodrie. That's a huge win for Hibs.
Yeah.
Massive.
Yeah, and burst Aberdeen's bubble again.
Aye.
It's actually becoming a little bit of a worry for Aberdeen.
Well, this is the thing. 4 weeks ago, they'd beaten Rangers, or 4 or 5 weeks ago, and they were 9 points clear of Rangers. Evaporated now.
It's gone.
Aye.
Yeah, Rangers back in second. I have to say that I still think that Jimmy Tilleen is a very good appointment for Aberdeen, and over the course and distance, he'll do fine, and he'll keep them in third this season. But this is where the narrative has changed about the entire season. 3-4 weeks ago, the big story is, can Aberdeen separate them? Can Aberdeen nail down second place this season? That's going to be the achievement. It's done and dusted in terms of who's winning the title. Can Aberdeen pip Rangers, hold them down and keep second place to themselves? Was the big question. I think that's ship sailed now too.
Think so?
Yeah, but again, not just because Aberdeen are having a sticky time at the minute, but
Because Rangers
different Rangers.
Aye. And I always think they play each other next at Ibrox, which again I think weighs into...
Listen,
Rangers favour.
Aberdeen's form just now is horrendous.
Aye, it's pretty poor now.
So, fair play to Hibs. And, we sat in this studio, and I think it was Swanee was sitting next to us, and a moment in time when it did seem as if David Gray was surviving on a sort of a game-by-game basis.
When they last played Aberdeen a few weeks ago at Easter Road, that was the one they equalised in the 98th minute.
That's right. It's actually been a bit of a springboard for them. Yeah.
And I don't have any insight here. I've not heard rumours or anything. I think if they lost that night, he might have been gone.
Well, I think so. And we were talking about it, and with each passing week, the situation became a little bit more grim for David Gray. But we did say, Swanee and I, do you know what? See if Hibs can just hold firm here, not panic, and just try to give him until Christmas time and see if he can get a bounce
Aye.
out of these players. And he's getting it. The not out the woods yet, not by a long shot, but from this position now, with a fair win behind them, with some momentum and confidence building, Hibs can look at a top 6 place now, and they're not all that far away from it. And they've got the quality in the squad, so that it should be achievable. They should be looking in the right direction now. I don't think they need to look over their shoulders anymore.
They've got the small matter of Edinburgh Derby on Boxing Day, which I think is going to be an absolute cracker.
Well, right now, who do you fancy going into that?
Oh, exactly. There's only one team you'd fancy, isn't it? And actually, we should go back to just quick mention for Hearts. They're obviously playing against St Johnstone just now, this afternoon. But our last show on Thursday night, we signed off by saying, there's no easy games in Europe. Actually, yes, there is. This is an easy game for Hearts tonight.
Petrol Cub are an easy game in Europe.
They're playing against some Moldovan farmers. Hearts, we should say, are 1-0 up at home to St Johnstone. So James Penrice,
good start,
who's having a great season. He's got the goal. But for them to not beat Petrol Cub.
I mean, It's a shocker.
That's a new low.
It's a shock. It's an absolute shocker. And I did say if Neil Critchley doesn't win this game, he's going to come under the cosh. Well, that's where he is. Now, he better hope
He holds on to
that they hold on to the lead against St Johnstone, because today is just, there is no alternative. He has to get a win. That was a shambolic performance, a shambolic result, and it's put the tin lid on what has been a shambolic Conference League campaign for them. Started it with 2 wins and ended it out. I mean, it's unfathomable.
You know, I love my stats.
Yeah.
Opta said, the Stats King said that after their first 2 games, Hearts were 91% certain to get through. They just need 1 more point, and they lost the next 4 games, which is just so depressing for Scottish football, for Hearts. I mean,
And for Statos.
yeah,
People
exactly.
who believe in the stats.
Exactly. I mean, I watched that game, right, and I might get a lot of stick for this. It might come back to haunt me. Right now, I know they're beating St Johnstone just now. That'd be a big win for them. I think Hearts are getting relegated. Honestly,
I think they're in trouble. But a win today.
That's a big win if they hold on today. Aye.
That'd be massive for them, and they need something. They need to grasp onto something. If they fail to win at home to St Johnstone, it just adds another layer of misery and anger to a situation which is already feeling very volatile.
I don't want to go too overboard, but you mentioned Neil Critchley there, and it's very early in his reign, but I think you make a very good point when he is kind of under the cosh now, and you start looking at it and going, where did they get Neil Critchley? You know, he doesn't have a particularly outstanding record. Is that...
It was the analytics.
The analytics brought him up. I mean...
Some of us said at the time there was a far more obvious solution to the Hearts problem.
There was, aye.
Just down the road in
Rugby Park.
down the M77. That was too obvious for the computer.
Aye, it's a weird one. I honestly, I think as if you're watching at home, you want to contradict me. I think right now, I'd back Hearts to get relegated.
Do you know what? Do you know what might save them? Is there are some poor teams in the Premier League this season in the Premiership. St Johnstone are one of them. Ross County are one of them.
But they're all kind of showing signs of life. Do you know what I mean? They'll get the odd result, they'll score goals. Hearts the other night, I was watching them, and they just looked devoid of anything, any creativity in the middle of the park. They all
It's a big transfer window for Jamestown Analytics, isn't it?
and they should have money, you'd have thought.
Well, they've got money.
Aye.
And they've got all the data. So this, you wouldn't expect one transfer window to sort all the problems that Hearts have got. But you would hope that this whole plan, this whole strategy, will start to give something back in the first window.
Yeah,
that they should be able to sign players that will add to the quality. And I think you spoke at length with Joe Savage last week, and he seems fairly comfortable with the job that he did there, but I'd be a bit embarrassed if I was him right now. I'd be looking at this thinking, I've got my fingerprints on this. This is a shambles. The squad is not evenly balanced. Apparently, the word is that Jamestown Analytics have looked at the squad and are far from impressed with the numbers that are coming back and the data that they're seeing in front of their eyes with this squad that was assembled previously by Joe Savage. So that's problematic. Because it suggests that now that they've got in and they've looked under the bonnet, we didn't realise there was just so much that was required to be done here to make this thing turn around. So again, interesting. But the fact is, and everybody said it, you don't need a supercomputer, you don't need anything to help you see that Hearts needed a striker, somebody to help Lon Shankland, help carry the weight a little bit. You would think that would be the first thing that they're trying to put into the keyboard right now to say, right, what's our options? We need one. We desperately need one.
And I'm not for a second suggesting that Stephen Naismith will be enjoying Hearts' struggles this season, but with every passing week, you kind of look at it and go, maybe he wasn't the problem there.
Yeah,
but who knows?
Well, look, do you know what? It's too soon to judge Critchley. It's too soon to make an assessment on whether or not Jamestown Analytics is a good thing or a bad thing. I think it should be a good thing if used properly. But you kind of get the feeling that they're just hanging on in there just now for January, and then hoping that things can turn from there. If it well, they have to, because if it carries on in the manner which it's been going so far this season, you're right, they are going to be in trouble. But I do kind of feel that St Johnstone, Ross County, I've got long seasons ahead of them as well.
Yeah, that's fair. That game at Easter Road on Boxing Day is going to be an absolute cracker. Let me throw this at you. I know I'm bouncing about all over the place, but to go back to the title race, Sean Maxwell says, Rangers win against Celtic, helicopter Sunday, back on, 20-year anniversary this season. Now, the reason why I'm bringing that up is, I'll go against you, but I don't think the title race is quite on yet. I think if Rangers win in the second, I'd go along with it. But right now, I would still back Celtic strongly to win the league.
Backing Celtic strongly.
No, I know, but I don't... Well, okay, but let me put it this way. How impressive a comeback would it be if Rangers did win this league? I mean, that would be... I can't...
Well, but this is why I can't rule anything out just now, because Clement to me was a dead man walking a few weeks ago, and I keep saying it. I don't know if he's done this deliberately, if this was all part of the cunning plan, but I really don't think so. I think that he's put guys like Hadji into the team. It's given them more creative edge. They're unpredictable in the way that they go about attacking teams now. They're in and out of positions. They vary. There's a fluidity about the way that they're going forward into the final
more
third.
creativity,
now. Yeah, they're completely different.
Aye.
Because what did they have previously? Dessers and two wingers. And the two wingers stayed out wide and Dessers kept losing the ball. And it was the easiest thing in the world to defend against.
You've said it as well, but I'm not trying to take credit off Clement, because, you know, he takes dog's abuse when he deserves it. So when they're on a good run, he deserves credit. But I think he has stumbled across this. I don't think this is any...
And this is what I'm writing a column for tomorrow, and it's about exactly this. You know, this is not an apology for things that have been said about Philippe Clement previously. It's far from it.
Aye.
If anything, all the criticism that he was getting, why are you doing this with Hadji? Why are you not...
Raskin.
Why is Raskin? Why can't he get a game?
Igaman,
you've signed him and you said he's nowhere near first team ready. Fell out with Todd Cantwell. He left the building when Rangers were crying out for a sort of creative spark earlier in the season. So many things that have left a sort of indelible black mark against Clement's credibility. So he has to work it back from that point.
Yeah.
And right now, for the first time, you're looking at it saying, well, do you know what? Maybe it's too churlish to say that you've just fluked this. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't.
That's fair.
But I think what you have to acknowledge is, by hook or by crook, they're a different team entirely. How could it take you? Here's the thing, right? See if you're sitting watching Cyril Dessers week in, week out, and in the best will in the world, the big guy, because he seems like a lovely big guy. But how can any manager sit there, watch that week in, week out, and just keep going? Yep, Cyril, same again, Cyril, go. No. So these are the things that make no logical sense. If you're mounting a defence for Philippe Clement, you have to acknowledge that these were unfathomable acts and decisions, and it makes him look flawed. So he's got a long way back from there.
And he's also maybe one of the luckiest Old Firm managers ever, in the sense that any other Old Firm manager...
When we should have been sacked, there wasn't anybody with a mandate or the authority to pull the trigger.
They couldn't afford him or whatever, whether or not that's true, but there was no one to sack him.
Yeah.
And I think it's fair to say he would have been sacked.
He was quite literally unsackable.
And now he's sort of recovered. And
this is why I'm ruling that this is weird.
Aye.
And you've seen weird examples before. This is one of the strangest ones, because Rangers have gone from absolute... I mean, they were rotten.
Finishing third.
They were rotten.
Aye.
And now all of a sudden, you actually quite enjoy watching Rangers, because they're coming at it from all angles here, and there's kind of variety in everything they do going forward. They're actually a good watch. They were duller than watching paint dry up until 3-4 weeks ago. It's an astonishing turnaround.
Absolutely, aye. My laptop with the questions has just died on us there. It is plugged in, I can assure you. There was one of the guys there asking, just before we finish up, what did we make of the boxing last night? Did you watch it? Are you a boxing fan?
I didn't watch it, no.
Okay.
I did see... I did just some news reports.
All right, okay.
I like Tyson Fury's red Santa suit, and that was about it.
Okay. I stayed up watching it.
No, I didn't.
Okay. There you go.
I've got nothing really to...
In that sphere.
Yeah.
Well, look, I think that more or less brings us to the end of today's Hotline Live. It's still 1-0 to Hearts.
Anyway, technical
I know.
difficulties.
I know. But look, we got through it.
Yeah,
we've
more or less.
entertained the masses once again. We'll be back. When will we be
I
back?
refuse to get stressed about this.
Back tomorrow, of course.
You're not back tomorrow, are you?
That's it.
I've let you off. You can go away and enjoy your Christmas. I will come back tomorrow and I'll need to host this abomination with the technical difficulties. And that'll be us for Christmas. And then I think, Daniel, you'll be back on Friday with a look back
The 27th.
at the Boxing Day schedule and the results
There'll be
and,
plenty to
and
talk
where
about.
that's left us and whether or not we do indeed have a title race back on.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks very much for getting involved. Thanks for sending the comments. We really appreciate it. And we'll be back to do it all again tomorrow. Thanks for watching.